your number one stop shop. Ana sama jigéen ñi dama bëgg ngeen jox ma seen nopp garmi yi ndaxte Quality Jasna amal nañ leen ay til yu toj daala poos abaaya yu yiiw waaye it amal nañ leen ay boreda yu rafet boreda yoo xam ne pour góor ñi la ak pour jigéen ñi amal nañ leen body scrub yi nga xam ne nii dafay defar seen yaram bam nice waaye it fàttewuñ fa diw yi ana sama jeeg yu pare yi Quality Jasna amal nañ leen fa andi cuuraay yu neex house spray ak bépp xeetu baax pour seen biir néeg dama ne atum ren jii ku sa jëkkër mere ku ne yow la neex ndaxte Quality Jasna ñëw na ci dëkk bi pour defar sëy yi make-up artist yi bàyyi ngeen gannaaw ñu ngi leen fa amal ay make-up product yu quality waxu leen léegi nii foofa sa Westfield jàkkaarloog monument bi wala nga jokkoo Quality Jasna ci 250 01 24 ak Quality Jasna taaral sa bopp taaral sa néeg waaye it dëggal sa alaaji aas.
Greetings viewers, this is Gambian Talents TV. We are at the Banjul at the National Assembly. We're going to bring you what is happening today inside the Parliament. Today's sittings will be based on the Rental Amendment Bill of 2023 and the Local Government Bill of Amendment of 2023. With me, our SDI. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Speaker, the member must be commended for coming up with this very important proposal. This National Assembly must take the issue of rent very seriously because it is affecting the vast majority of the poor people. As he has already said, those who are paying high rent are not really the problem here. Our major concern is those who are paying low rent, the low tenants. That's where the major problem is. And I'm one of those who used to hold premises for my brothers. And I know the crisis that we used to go through between the tenant and the landlord. And this is one major area. And I think that's why he has spotted that, to ensure that tenants pay by month. Even though the majority of tenants are not monthly earners, they are not salary earners. But if they are allowed to pay by month, that will be better for them. And it can even go, if you go by what he said, it can even go for maybe another 14 days before they can actually be qualified to leave if they don't pay. So I think it is very important. And if you look at also, Honorable Speaker, the inflation rate is very high. The inflation rate is very high. If you go, people who are building for rent are also suffering too much. Because every time you go and buy, building material, there is an addition. Inflation has come. Right now, inflation is at 18.5%, core inflation, which is very high. So if a landlord, invests to build, a structure like this, and people come there and who will not be able to pay, that is a big burden to the investor, because some of these investors are just some of our people who went to Europe and they are working there and they send some money so that they're able to invest to be able to take care of their families. So if the rent is also not paid, it affects those people also. So I think whatever arrangement that will come, which will be reasonable for both the landlord and the tenant, is what we should be focused on. I think the tenants must be advised that if you cannot pay rent, don't go and venture. Because some of them, what they do is they will in fact, come and say, yes, I can pay 3 months. Some of the suggestion comes from they themselves. They'll say, I can pay 3 months. But when they pay 3 months, the next 3 months after that, if that 3 months is over, the next 3 months after that, they cannot continue. Because their incomes are not up to the rent they have taken. So these are all issues that are in that because of the desperation for them to have a dwelling, they would accept any payment. But after they have accepted, now how to continue is the problem that comes. And then you continue to owe arrears to the landlord, and when that happens, then crisis comes. And then how that crisis also resolved is also very important. That's why I was asking the minister the other time and said whether the tribunal that is established to really deal with these issues is also catered for in whatever review they are doing relating to rent, and he's saying all that is captured. So I think the overall review of the rent issue, the tenant issue, is what is crucial. But for now, I think we will go by this. Honorable Speaker, also the whatever arrangement we are going to put here, whether it's going to be 5% or more than 5%, and the method of paying that 5% should be reasonable to both the landlord and the tenant. Otherwise, they will always play if they see that you cannot pay, they will not allow you to come and take their house. So, but if they are sure that you'll be able to pay, they'll be willing to do. But if you put 5% there, in a way, the way I see it, if it is put there, Honorable Speaker, it appears that the landlord is obliged to increase the rent every 12 months. Is that what we are saying? So we need to look at that. We have to be very careful, because if we do that, it means in 5 years, it will be 20%. That may be too high for people whose salaries are not increased proportionately to the increment in rent. So these are some of the things we need to look at. Yes, yes. I would stop there, because I think when we go to the consultation, we can move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woolly East. And I invite the Honorable Member for Busumbala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I first of all thank the mover of the motion or the bill, that's Honorable Madi Sise, Serakunda West, for tabling this important bill before us. I can't agree more when you indicate the low cost has in the current bill act to be increased to $7,000. The reasons are very clear. Even the salaries were increased, and commodities and every aspect of our life endeavors are now increasing. So it will be unfair to leave the bill, the low cost in the rental aspect, to be 3,000. When we increase it to 7,000, the mischief is going to address is like from 1,000 towards 7,000. Any rental property pegged to that label will be paying monthly, and above that could be paying cumulatively, like a whole sum of 6 months or so. Having said that, rent is everybody's concern. You either be in a rental property or your relatives are in a rental property. So every one of us in this country is experiencing the hardship connected to rental issues. Even our government is renting. Some of our institutions, like the mover indicates, are on rent. So rent issues should be everybody's concern. We look at in a very holistic way, in a way that both tenants and that of the landlord to live in a cordial relationship. How can we do that? We need to do a proper study of this thing so that we may not disadvantage one against another. In this regard, so many speakers are waiting, and some have already spoken, and most of their speeches have taken some words from me. So I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Busumbala. I now invite the Honorable Member for Bakau.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And let me use this opportunity to thank the mover of the motion, Honorable Member for Serakunda. Thank you very much for coming up with such a wonderful bill. Honorable members, I'm sure you will all agree with me that as National Assembly members, we do have complaints from our electorates about this rent, the cost of rent in the country. So this bill comes at a time when rents are no more under control. So coming up with such bill will give regulations to control our rents in the country. I'm sure you will all agree with me that there are some landlords who request payments of 3 to 6 months, of which we are all witness to. Considering our incomes when it comes to salary, most Gambians cannot afford to pay rents in advance, say 3 to 6 months. So when we had a bill like this that will control or regulate those acts, will be welcoming to each and every Gambian. Honorable Speaker, having said that, the objects and reasons are very specific, and it's very easy for us to have a very limited debate on this issue, because it's not a bill that is complicated. It's very simple, as alluded by a member from Nyanija, that this debate should not be a long debate among members. This bill is a bill that is here for each and every Gambian. So for that being the case, I'll appeal to honorable members for us to keep time and if necessary to refer the bill to the relevant committee in order to save time. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Bakau. I now invite the Honorable Member for Fonyi Jarol.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and may I also commend the mover of the motion. And your bill is timely, it's overdue, and I think this is what is expected from a National Assembly member, because it is the people that we are looking after. And then I always say there is no leader who wants to see his people or wish his people suffer. So, and then to stop that, it is all about regulations and control. Because if you don't control or you don't make any regulations, there are others who are going to monopolize the system. So I think you've done your part, and then bringing this bill is a good thing, because one thing you want to address is to bring the rent to the living standards of our people, because a lot of people are low income earners who are renting, and definitely they are suffering. So this is what we want to address. Well, some of the speakers who spoke before me have already said certain things, like when it comes to payment, I think you did not mention in your bill about the currency, because a lot of people charges in foreign currency, which is a burden on tenants. And landlords also, I know they suffer during the construction period because of inflation. But if they also want to consider that and want to recover everything within a short term or a short period, this is also going to harm tenants. And then we need to look at that. The things that I always complain is like, we are good at making laws, we are good at making acts, But our problem where we always fail is to implement them. And I think you coming up with this idea to end the suffering of tenants would be a milestone and would be something also that it will not only stop there, but whatever is agreed here, I know is also going to be implemented to end that suffering. I thank the move of the motion and I thank the speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Jarol. I now invite the Honorable Member for Banjul Central.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for granting us this opportunity. I'll also try to be very succinct, since most of what we had to say was already has already been diluted by our other members. So this is very apt and timely, Honorable Speaker, because, for example, us people in Banjul are currently facing mass exodus, I would say, with regards to residents moving away from the city involuntarily, I would say, because of one, the lack of space, and secondly, the lack of affordable rental spaces. This bill is very timely because I would take it, it targets the low-income earners, for example, because if you are to pick a certain percentage as to the number of people who actually live in homes that they own, I think it's quite low. So a large portion of the general populace are living in rental homes. So I think this bill coming in is very timely, will at least help the process between those that are rentees and also the tenants. For example, just recently, I had an engagement with my people. Most of what they brought up that is pertaining to our, problems within our constituency, most of it was these rental issues. I even engaged with some who, at that particular moment, had even issues of eviction with the rentees. You understand? So this issue is very peculiar. And a very big problem in my constituency. I could remember one of the first issues I raised here in Parliament was the issue of this rental aspect. And I always keep reiterating here in this August body that Banjul is really in need of a housing estate, low income earners to be able to at least redirect those that have been moved away by this rental issue to be able to relocate back to the capital city. I just have a few observations with regards to the 3-month notice of increment. I think also there should be, I think there should be a subclause that might, with regards to the percentage, sorry, so the percentage, the 5%, I think there should be probably a subclause that would really specify what the reasons for termination might be, for example. Because we do not want someone to just wake up one morning and just give very vague reasons as to why they think that you should move without giving you any genuine reasons. I think that can be something we could look into as well. Yeah, I did highlight the issue of paying in dollars and other things, but I think the Honorable Minister last time said that they are also working on a holistic bill that has to do with all aspects of rent. But I think this is very timely, and I think when the bill comes, it will be able to accommodate all these things. So on that note, I would just like to join my colleagues in endorsing this bill, and I think it's very progressive. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Banjul Central. Honorable members, let's remind ourselves other issues about the integrities of the bill will be addressed at the Committee of Supply. I now invite the Honorable Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, renting in the Gambia, we are all affected directly or indirectly. And as people's representative, when the populace are affected, that becomes a concern to representatives. Therefore, it is duty bound on us to look into those issues that are concerned to the people, to see how best can be addressed. I believe, as I said, rent is those issues that directly affect us or indirectly in one way or the other. Based on that spirit and the glaring call by the populace for issues relating to rent as indicated in the bill, the mode of payment of the rent, and then the method of increment of the pay to be addressed. Honorable Speaker, the low-income earners, especially in the greater Banjul area, find it very difficult to get a place to rent. As the honorable member said, for Banjul Central, the scarcity of rental places is one thing, and the high cost is another that make the competition very high. Then, if the cavity of the mode of payment is not also looked into, that is going to affect the low-income earners to have the opportunity of a place to rent and then also to afford the payment. To look into that particular section, I think, as honorable member said earlier on, is very timely. The mode of payment, tenants can just decide at any time to increase the house rent. Many a time, that can be a flimsy excuse to tell the tenant, leave my place, which is very unfair. When the tenant may not be in position to even find another place, but just increase because he or she will not be in position to afford and will have no choice but to leave. A tactical way of telling them to leave his or her place. I agree, not less than 1 year, but that may also be sought. If we want to protect, I think 1 year may not be adequate to give them that protection. At the committee of the whole house, we can look into that, but that protection obviously is needed. It was unfortunate, as other honorable members mentioned, the payment in the foreign currency is not part of the amendment. Maybe another honorable member can come up with that, but that's also another issue, especially around Greater Banjul. Most of the tenants will make that as a condition. We are not paying in Gambian currency, but in dollars. Let's think of that clause as well. It's another section of the act that is directly affecting the tenants. Fairly, both the tenants and the landlords, the bill is trying to give that considerable fair treatment. Honorable Speaker, having made mention on to see how best to address the burden on the low-income earners, I think this can be a possible reminder for the government to look into creating or venturing into providing housing estate to enable low-income earners to have places. the Canifing Housing Estate, and then the Bakota Housing Estate, at that time helped a lot of low-income earners to have places. Right now, these private housing estate dealers, the cost that they are making their houses available, the low-income earners cannot afford that. In as much as we are struggling to make so tenants, especially low-income earners, are fairly treated, we urge the government to look into this venture and then try to address the issues that are directly affecting the low-income earners. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I add my voice to support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama North and the Minority Leader. I now invite the Honorable Member for Talinding Kunja.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. To reinforce the statements of previous speakers regarding the importance of this bill, as where all of us come from, we have our constituents that are landlords as well as tenants, a number of them. And most often, the laws as the object of the bill states do not serve the purpose as far as contemporary times are concerned. It is therefore necessary to do certain amendments where these issues, conflict of interest or conflict of relationship arises. And one fundamental thing is the rent increments that the bill seeks to address. Now, how and when do we increase rents? You know, we all are aware that there are no regulations that determines that. So to cope that, we must ensure that it is addressed through this bill. Now, I want to add my voice to say that just the previous speaker, what he's just mentioned with regards to the time, 12 months. It is important we look at that as well if we want to protect the interests of the tenants as well as the malpractice that is in the sector. There is one, although you can still have the law, but there is one practice that the tenants, the landlords still use to circumvent the law. They will be able to circumvent this law, and I don't know, maybe when I want to highlight it, somehow we can incorporate it in it, because yes, they cannot increase rent within a space of 12 months, according to the suggestions here, proposals here. But even if you do 3 years, it's still fine. But the practice that is happening now, when they want to increase, they give you notice. They notice you to vacate the place. You vacate the place December, January, a new tenant, the price is increased for the new tenant. How do we control that in the law? Because even if you say 1 year, you cannot increase. That is for the existing tenants, that's occupying. But what happens when they want to increase? They evict you. December, I want to renovate. In the guise of renovation, I want to renovate the place. They evict you. You leave the premises. January, without even doing the renovation, that the excuse they have given. January, they bring a new tenant and increase from 4,000 to 5,000. You know, so that is a practice that I am aware of, and most of you maybe you will recall something in your this thing, and that is something we need to look at. The other issue is definitely this bill seeks to, like somebody said, Salum or Banjul South, address all the two parties, both the tenants and the landlords. And it protects all of them. One of the issues is the payment of rent fees. We know some landlords are suffering. You are occupying his premises 3 months, no pay, 4 months, no pay. And sometimes they go through hurdles to evict you. Because like Banjul South said, the alternatives of seeking redress sometimes is is too tedious. Now it, so I accept his recommendation that the council should be involved so that the speedy execution and implementation of this. Because when you have laws and still it's difficult for tenants or landlords to implement it, it's also something we should look at. So this is one of the things. So the bill seeks to limit the payment of your rental fee for 14 days after the due date. I think that is helpful for the landlord so that they don't have tenants that will be occupying their this thing. Also, the other issue that is always a bone of contention between the tenants and it's the repairments. Sometimes you are a tenant, your roof is leaking, but you find it very hard to get the landlord to respond to those challenges. Sometimes at the end, you as a tenant will have to invest your money because at the end you are the one feeling the burden. So they don't care. So this is also something that is addressed here, and I think it's a good thing. And also, when sometimes the tenants are vacated, they are leaving, the damages, who should repair it? You understand? This is also something I witnessed. You understand? So they go through a lot of issues in regards to what the level of damage, and this bill seeks to address who should repair what, when you are vacating a premises. You understand? So, and I think all those things are things that are very good and progressive. And also the subletting issue is always an issue, and this bill also seeks to address that. And in a nutshell, like the Banjul Central just said, I want to re-echo, but like you said, the minister just informed us about that. But this is something we seek this opportunity to address some of the nitty-gritties to ensure that until such a time we have a holistic, bill to deal with all these legal tenders and all those commercial rental facilities, because we as a country, it's affecting our economy when people rent places and asking them to pay in hard currencies. And this is something we should do in earnest. Without avoiding to repeat what others want to say, I would raise my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Talinding Kunjang. I now invite the Honorable Member for Opanyumi.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I withdraw. Honorable Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Opanyumi. I now invite the Honorable Member for Joshua. Pardon?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And thank you very much to the Honorable Member who brought in the bill. My first question goes to him, whether there was any consultation between you and the ministry, because this is something that is always here, where the minister is always giving us response to us when questions are raised with regards to rent issue. Whether there was any consultation between you and the ministry in case of any issues that can come when they are also prepared to come up with the bill. Honorable Speaker, my concern goes to the issue of bulk payment with regards to 6 months, 3 months, and then 1 month and the like. The movement made mention of 3 months. They want to increase it from 3,000 to 7,000 and asking for a 1 month payment, advance payment. Are we only targeting only residential, or we are targeting even the new business commerce who are coming into force as new business commerce? They want to establish business newly. Do we target those people also? Because they are also part of it. If somebody wants to start a business, you want to ask him 6 months to pay with an area where the guy don't have that much to pay. I mean, it's going to be difficult for that person to start business. Do you factor those people also? And the other thing also with regards to the registration issue, I think it's good we register. But after registering, I think it's important also we value the properties based on what should be paid. Because by registering and not valuing is a problem. Because at times it's very rare to see landlord registering. They only register when they have issues with their tenant. When they are sending to court, they want the court to take action, that's the time they register. So I think the ministry and then the government should take their stand now to make sure that compound and register and also they have value to give them a category on what should be charged per house. The issue of maintenance, I have seen it also in it. When tenants are living, they need to repair or maintenance the area that they are occupying. But if the landlord are also maintaining, they are also helping in the process of maintaining or maintaining the property. At the end of the day, if you want to leave, you want to put all that burden on him, it might also be a problem. I think those areas should be looked at properly, and then being referred to the committee. I'm also appealing to the committee to look at this thing properly and then see. Looking at the 2014 Act, I think there are a lot of things that need to be looked at properly and to be changed. Because currently, people are charging high cost. People are just charging for the sake of charging. If you come to see the price of commodities are going high, yes, you build your compound for 20 years. And yes, every year you want to increase your rent. At the time you were building, what was the rate by then? Not only the location that you are staying that you should charge. People are not even charging on structures. They are only charging of area that you are living. Let's say Kotu is charging 10 million. If you come to Old Joshua, maybe there's a better structure in Old Joshua than in Kotu. People are even charging based on structures. But we need to register and also value the structures to make sure that before you charge, you go through the right procedures and then know that in Latrikunda, if you have the structure of a bungalow house, it should be this cost. If you have a story building, it should be this cost. Yes, people need to want to live life. But my concern here too, there also must be control. We must protect our citizens. How can we protect our citizens? Yes, if we control the rate of charges, the foreigner comes in there and is willing to pay 10 months or willing to pay 1 year. Where are we heading to? The enemy of our citizens end up losing. We need to protect our citizens. How can we protect them? Is to bring in laws that will definitely cover them when it comes to an act, but not to just leave it open. The landlord will be only looking for his own interest. If you come in and I say, no, I cannot give you my house. Why James coming from some area and he wants to pay in 1 year, he accept it. So what is controlling that? I think we need to look at it, the move, and then when you come to committee level, you look at this thing and see how best we can help. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Joshua. I now invite the Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabiji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I don't think I'll go that far because the previous speakers have spoken everything rightly so about this bill. The only thing I am embarrassed and disturbed when we call bills controversial and non-controversial. There is no such thing like a controversial bill. There is always a bill amending provisions of laws, but no bill, in my opinion, is controversial. This bill is very, very, very important because it is one of the bills that has affected everybody in this country. In this country, you are either a tenant or a landlord. And this bill has come to improve the relationship between tenants and landlords. So I am sure, I want to reinforce myself to the previous speakers. We bless this bill right away. I don't even think it is necessary to subject the bill to any committee stages. That is going to subject the bill to another administrative hurdle. So in my opinion, we can definitely go to the House consideration stage and approve this bill right away. We can also try to improve it. It is very true, the bill needs some improvement, especially where landlords are collecting their rent in foreign currency. I am sure this we should definitely have a section that is going to improve on that. No landlord shall collect any currency, any rent in foreign currency. Honorable Speaker, another important aspect of rental business in the country are the rental agents, and I'm sure the House is going to be very mindful of that as well. The rental agents also need to be regulated. Honorable Speaker, this brings me to the end of my presentation, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Latrikunda Sabiji. I now invite the honorable member for Jara West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. And let me thank the member for Serakunda for tabling this bill. This bill is very progressive. By reading the objects and reasons, you can see how progressive is the bill. If you allow me, Honorable Speaker, I'd like to say, to enable the ordinary person afford to pay his or her rent monthly rather than face the burden of paying for 6 months or more at any given time. This is too much for ordinary Gambians to acquire a house now. You can see all the beautiful houses now are occupied by foreigners. Our own Gambians now, they rather go and live outside, very far, to Kombo or to Banjul. Then in the issue of also, I've gone over the bill, but the issue of like deposit. Tenants ask for an amount of money that you should deposit that is different from the advance payment you have to pay before you move to the house. This also needs to be considered. But I've gone over all the bill. I haven't seen that. Because in most cases now, before you enter a house, they ask you to deposit some amount, which should be looked into. And additional to that, you are asked to pay for 6 months. This is very, very serious. Also, I have seen in some places where the increment goes for more than 200%. You increase your rent for more than 200 or 300%. That is too much. As previous speaker said, the 5%, we should look at that. Because if we just leave it to 5% for the tenants for every 1 year, it can always be increasing. So I think we need to see what to do about that, about the increment. We cannot just leave it at every year 5% increment, you know. And then some people mention the landlord, if they want to increase, they know how to increase. They can always evict you and allow someone to come in and then increase the rent. So I nearly withdraw my intervention, but I thought this was something that I have to say. It's very, very important, and then this should be considered. The deposit and this 300 or 200% of increment of rent. This is too much as Gambians. The issue of paying in foreign currency, people have talked on that. I think we should consider, you know, removing that also for Gambians. We are in the Gambia. We need to pay in dollars when we are to enter into rent agreement. Honorable Speaker, on that note, I want to submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Jara West. I now invite the Honorable Nominated Member, Maimuna Sise.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I would like to add my voice to my colleagues by giving a due consideration to this important bill before us. Honorable Speaker, the rent issue in this country, it is in 3 components. The third one, I think we always forget about it. From the landlord to the tenant, then the tenant to the brokers, which Gambia call them an agents. Honorable Speaker, the agent fee in this country is another scary matter right now we need to put into consideration. By having your property, you want to rent it. You contacted the agents, they will have their own fee to be attached to the rent. Again, you, the tenant, by having access to that apartment, you also will imply another, security fee, again, regards to the agent, which is, we call it as a broker fee. I just call it as a broker. Honorable Speaker, these 3 components we need to put in the very consideration. The landlords should give a mercy to the tenants. I have a problem by seeing that the 5% of people are talking about that. For me, still now the 5% is in the high side. because the property is already acquired. Whatever you're supposed to spend on that particular property has been done. Now it's a fixed income for you. You cannot be sitting for every 12 months thinking of that you have to increase your rent. On what basis? I think that's not fair with the tenants. By acquiring the apartment also, you need to pay a security deposit of 6 months, which is in the high side. We all know that every agreement should come with the conditions. Because you might give in your apartment to somebody which are very good conditions. By the time he is leaving, the condition might be deteriorated, and you need to repair it. The 2-month security deposit, I think, is enough for any property. And I think the government policies need to be adjusted here. Every rental property in this country need to be registered. Wherever they are, they need to be registered, because right now it's a commercial business you are dealing with. And that, after the registration, the government should come with a format of a lease form. That lease form, every property have to buy that one from the local government. When that lease form is attached, every property should be valued. The valuation of the property will determine how much the rent is supposed to be paid. But if people are liberal to their own choice, because I have the comfort to build my property, I am the one who is renting it, I can so charge for anything I feel like. I think we are not fair with ourselves. I think government should double their effort in that. We should have a caveat in rent. No matter what, the caveat should be there. People are not in the same conditions, but the properties need to be valued and understand how and the way forward. Honorable Speaker, the right of the maintenance. You will be in an apartment having some issues with the apartment. Contacted the landlord, he will continue giving you an endless excuses while the apartment will not be renovated. And the more the problem is getting persistent, the more the damage is severe. By doing the severe, when you are about to leave, or eventually if he evicts you to leave, or you cannot continue stay in that apartment, what is going to happen? The landlord will take you to court because the damage has been there. You've been complaining, it never gets repaired. So therefore, Honorable Speaker, with that small intervention, I would like to submit, and I would like my colleague, every one of us, to add our blessing to see that we send this one to the consideration committee, and we consider it as a real law. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nominated Member Maimouna Sise. I now invite the Honorable Member for Ol Yundum.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Always, it has been said that if you come last, you are always limited. First of all, let me thank the mover of the motion for bringing the local government, the rental amendment bill. I must applaud him for taking a bold step in identifying gaps in the 2014 Act and coming with an amendment. I also want to submit that rental issues in this country are not the issues for us to blame each other, but of course these are responsibilities for all of us as representatives, because all of us together, we know, whether directly or indirectly, all of us have participated or at least have contributed in one way or the other in solving issues of rent within our constituencies. So it's a responsibility for all of us, whether you come from the minority or you come from the majority. It's for all of us. Honorable Speaker, the movement of the motion, I have a few questions, because most of my colleagues have mentioned about whether there was consultation between the mover and of course the ministry, but also those that this particular bill, the amendment, affected wholeheartedly, that is the tenants and of course the landlords, because it's important that you also hear from them before you make a certain amendment on their behalf. These are very important things. So I would want to ask him further, let him tell this August Assembly whether that consultation have been done. And the consultation should not only be limited to the ministry alone, because the ministry will have their say. But of course, the beneficiaries and those that the amendment is going to affect also will have their say. So that consultation, I think, is important for the mover to tell this August Assembly. I also talk about if we want to regulate rent in this country, Honorable Speaker, of course, there are things that we need to put into consideration. One of these has to do with rental classification, because you cannot rent in Banjul with an amount of $10,000, and yet you want to have a rent in Tumanna for $10,000 as well. So these are two different things. We need to look into both and have a classification of rent, the location of the structure itself, and how is the structure going to be valued, as the honorable member for Joswang said. It's important for us to put all that into consideration. Of course, the amendment is good. The members brought the amendment in a very timely, period. But also, we need to put into consideration that the Minister of Finance said it here, that the government is also thinking of having a comprehensive rental amendment that is going to take care of all these things that we're talking about, the piecemeal amendments. So it's important for us to consider that as well. If the government's amendment is going to take care of all the amendment that we need in our rents, I think it's important for us to also consider that when it comes, because the minister said it here. But of course, we thank the mover. The amendment is progressive. All the clauses that we have put into the amendment are progressive, if you look at them. But then we can still look at it. But I would also want to, subscribe to what the member for Nyani just said. Despite the fact that there are progressive clauses, it's important for us to allow the ABC to refer the bill to a particular committee that is responsible, so that we can do a further consultation as well on the clauses and see what is missing and what do we need to add, to make it a more convenient bill for all of us. So, Honorable Speaker, that is my submission, and I want to thank the mover for the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Old Yundum. I now invite the Honorable Member for Lower Salum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this. Thank you, Honorable Member for Serakuda, for this wonderful amendment. It's a long overdue for members to sit on this particular bill. And Honorable Speaker, this rent issue is a concern for every citizens. 95% of this house are renting. I'm a victim of rent problems. Honorable Speaker, the idea of this amendment to make life and livelihood for our citizens. There is a Rent Act that was amended here. I think it was 2018. Again, it's a problem for us. We can design laws, good policies, but to implement it is the problem. If the rent that was amended here has been implemented, then the cost of this rent issue will be minimized. Here, this is a rent amendment, but the rent amendment has many components that is attached to this document. It's the landlord and the tenant. Yes, but for me, I will say it, landlord versus the tenant, government versus the citizens. Honorable Speaker, if we make design laws here, and the government that should implement those laws are not doing it, then we have a problem. And Honorable Speaker, we are not implement agencies that we will pass laws, but we are not there to implement laws. The issue of rent is a cause of concern, Honorable Speaker. What members said here, which I agree 100%. If you attach the rent component with our social responsibility, it's a burden on citizens. We need to look at this issue very well. I fully remember when the minister made a response, and I'm the first person who made this parliamentary question on this issue. So I must thank the honorable member for bringing this document in my table. If I fully remember when the minister said they will make holistic approach on this issue, when it's going to be, and how soon it's going to be. There are documents that already is amended. And already the minister himself has these rumors that he is the advisor to the government. There are people that are paying in foreign currency. What steps the minister has done to advise the government on that? Honorable Speaker, the way the rent issue is going, there will be a time citizens will sleep outside. If you connect rent issue with our current income earning, where it's a difficult situation, you connect it. When I had the former VP said, the police officers should not take those $10 on the state. When a police officer getting a salary of $3,750, and when you are charged in a rent of $5,000, $6,000, what do you expect to do? When a teacher is charged of $7,000 for your month, basic salaries, a rent they charge you for $4,500. How are you going to feed your family and yourself? The issue is we have to take the bull by the horn. I can go with the nominated member, Maimouna Cesar. This landlord, how many monies that they are taking from tenants? When actual fact the government is not charging nothing on them, because a list of land, we know how much it is. When you list your land, it's how much? It's less than $1,000. It's just initial stage. When you want to buy a land, it's where you have to get a payment that you're going to make. But after that payment, you are feel free. No tax is charged on a landlord. And what he said, we have to put everything in order. Today, the current rent act, if you want to ask somebody to vacate from the house, you are there to notify him for 3 months. But today, it's not happening. And now the landlord with the registrar would take charge, where a registrar should implement this document for the tenant. Now he or she will have an agreement with the landlord, giving him a document that and and a document that your landlord asks you to vacate, while not taking the due process of the law. When a register is doing that, I have a document here. I speak with truth and evidence. A registrar served a tenant that your landlord asks you to leave the house or vacate the house. It's here. Without no due process will be done. You said you increase your house within a 3 months. You said you have renovated when even your house is dirty. You don't make nothing. You just want him to increase your house, and you ask your tenant to leave. You went to the register served him with this document. And those people who should help us to implement this document. If the landlord comes and said, no, you should not do it. You have to take the due process of the law. This is what it was said in the rent. You notify the individual, he or she, for 3 months. And within these 3 months, he or she will look for a house to go. But then that was not done. You just serve him. This is why I said it's a failure. Because the register is sitting by they are employed by the government. Honorable Speaker, this thing is each of us concerned. I am renting, I don't have any house. But then let's take the due process. We allow it to go according to the process. This parliament, where we represent the citizens, and this parliament has to make life better for Gambian people. If you check the entire book, there's no controversy anywhere. I'm affected. And none of us said it's controversial. And none of us will say it. So I think it passed the due process is every man's business. You can see today a foreigner will come. They will gather and take one house, pay a huge amount of money. You have seen it here. And you refuse to give your own citizens. We have to change our attitude the way things are going. You cannot deny your own people given to foreigners. You have seen it here. You can see all sex workers parked in the one house, rent is given to them. And we are encouraging those issues in our communities. All these expenses that you have seen, not from us, not from us, because now your own fellow Gambian, a house, and you allow a sex worker to occupy 10 of them in one house. Oh, that's crazy. You only look for the money that you're taking out, and you encourage the same issues. And we have seen it. So I think it's a problem. And this problem should be addressed, Honorable Speaker. Here we are representing the masses. What is happening? We all know this bill doesn't need to go any consultation for where? I myself, I'm here. What is happening? I know it. The reality on the ground, I know it. And I can speak for my people down there. And I can speak to those people that I'm living with. It doesn't need anything to go anywhere. Honorable Speaker, I think the best thing here is you go to Gimpex today. All those subsidies are paying in dollars. And it's not here. Yeah, I have experience on this because I'm paying rent. I'm paying rent. So this is why I said I have to treat these documents I want it. So the issue here is, Honorable Speaker, what the member for the nominated member said. In fact, before you get a rent house, they will give it to the agent. Now the agent will decide. Before you see that agent, you have to pay $300. Now 500. Let's go. If you get that agent to see the house, now there's a third mediator. That's the agent. The landlord will reserve, because normally you don't even go for court proceedings when the landlord breaks the laws. And 90% of these landlords, they always break these laws. Anyway, let's represent our people. And if we design laws, we make these laws be implemented for the fullest. But coming here, debate, we pass laws and we never implement it, has no use. Honorable Speaker, the fact of the matter is, we are representing our people. Nothing more for our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Lower Salum. Honorable members, I think I have reminded you, I'll continue to remind you, Order 67.1 of the standing orders. On a motion being moved that a bill be read a second time, the general merits and principles of the bill, the general merits and the principles of the bill may be debated. I now invite the Honorable Member for Brikama South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm withdrawing.
Okay, sorry. I now invite thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama South. I now invite the Honorable Member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, for the records, I will want the Parliament to understand that this bill was brought to us by the member for Serekunda West and not the member for Serekunda. And I think at the same time, I will seize the opportunity to commend the member for Serekunda West for bringing such a progressive bill that I believe it is very timely. And as we all stand for in Parliament, it's about addressing the needs and the concerns of our people. So in that regard, seeing such a bill coming from a member is indeed very encouraging. And I will want to seize the opportunity to implore my fellow honorable members to consider this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Banjul North. I now invite the Honorable Member for Bunungakunda.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I also want to join my honorable colleagues to thank the member for Serekunda West for bringing such a very good and progressive bill, the Rent Amendment Bill 2023. Basically, we are representing the people. So equally, this bill, I think, seek to address the fair treatment of both the tenant and the landlord. Because if we look at it, the rent issue is a concern generally, but as we know the government cannot provide housing for everybody. And those who are giving out their homes to those who build these structures, they are equally investors. So, but the most important aspect of this bill is like to give them a fair balance, wherein both the landlord and the tenant to know their responsibilities. Because in the area of the rent aspect, before, these rent issues were given to were at the rent tribunal at the local government level. So, and right now, the challenge that we are going to have with this, even if we pass this bill, who is going to control or implement these laws? Because the thing is, sometimes it's always difficult for you to value the house. And based on the value of the property, that determines the rent that you pay. So, and we understand if landlord, what they normally do, if they want to increase their rent, in fact, they will give you an excuse. We want to give this, they will give you a notice and ask you to leave because they have a relative who is coming to occupy. The moment you leave, then they will, organize another fee for the rent. When you come, then they increase the rent. So these are all issues that we need to consider and try to find a way, a control mechanism wherein at least the landlord, we can control them such a way that, at least they will not affect the tenant. But equally, the tenant also need to also safeguard the properties of the landlord. Because as much as we are representing the people, equally, the landlord, both the landlord and the tenant, we are representing all of them. And basically, they also took their money to do investment in terms of building properties to give it out. But basically, the way and the manner how they normally increase their rent and the way they do it definitely is an issue which we need to address. And thank God, the amendment bill, the honorable member brought it, which I think is timely and is very important. So on that note, I just want to thank him once again for bringing this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Bundunga Kunda. I now invite the Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I would like to join my honorable colleagues to thank the honorable member for Serekunda West for coming up with this timely intervention bill, rent bill, because it is very important. If you haven't read some of the objects and reasons of the bill, it says the rate that rent is increased is also carefully considered so that both the tenants and landlords do not suffer, as a reasonable percentage will be allowed as annual increment for rent. I think that this is something that is very important and that needs to be considered. But we also have to consider something, that is, people are not renting only just to live in those houses, to spend nights, to sleep there or whatsoever. But people also rent some properties to do business. Like when you go to Serekunda, along the Serekunda Highway, Tabokoto Highway, you see that some people will rent properties for business purposes. They will be selling basic food commodities. And what happens? If rent is increased, they will also increase their basic food commodities. And that is the impact. It will have a very bad impact on society. So this is something that we need to look at holistically. To me, we don't need to take this to any committee or whatsoever. We are all representing different constituencies, and we all know what we are facing. Some of us are renting. Most of us here, most of us are renting. Myself, I'm renting, so I know what it means. We suffer. Just few days ago, the landlord came and served me with a notice of increment of rent. You have not increased anything on that particular property, but you want to increase your rent for what? And you are not paying any dividend to government. How much are they paying? Do government even know whether that house that I'm renting is in existence? They don't even know. So at the end of the day, they don't even come and repair. Repairing is a problem. These tenants, they will not repair the property. In fact, there is no water. Some of them will tell you, okay, you can rent this property, but I don't have even these toilets here. You have to go to your neighbors, and you still want to collect money from me. Sometimes these sockways will be filled up to the brim. They will not come and remove it 3, 4, 5 days. It's not even hygiene. And they will not come and remove it. You have to follow them to do that. So all these things, there are so many factors, as far as rental issues are concerned. So there is no need, for us to take this to any committee. I think sometimes we treat bills as a matter of urgency in this parliament. This is the most urgent one. It's urgent. We are seeing it. Before you take things that are not urgent, let us take this as a matter of urgency. To me, the members should have even moved a motion for us to just take it as a matter of urgency. We passed this bill. This is important. What committee are you going? If you go to committees, it's the same members that are going to sit and look at it. So we are all here seated. I think we have more, in fact, we will have more ideas, more, to look at it before you take it to committee. It's taking time. 2023 is almost gone. We are going to 2024. By 2024,
can I observe you?
No, just you are not renting. Just allow us. So by 2024, by 2024, they will start serving notices. We all know. By 2024, they will start serving notices to people, telling them that we have increased the rent again. And what have you done? What increment have you done on your house? You've not done anything. You've not repaired anything. So you still want to increase? At the end of the day, people will start blaming government on things that are not necessary. That yes, you see, I am paid a salary of $4,000, and even if I have to pay rent, it's going to take me $3,000. The blame comes back to us as government. So we need to do the needful to protect our people. We need to do the needful to make sure that, sometimes we just have to consider things. Mauda Malik Mune, he said, no matter what, if you want, let the prices increase, but let me have it. If a bag of rice is $1,000 and I'm having millions and millions of dollars, will I mind? You wouldn't mind to go and buy it. But the problem is the take home. What are we having? That is the problem. So we have to relate it to what we are paying as rent. So let's treat this now. Let's finish it. There is nothing like taking it to committee. We are all from committees. We are all from different communities. We are representing our people, and we can do the needful here. Honorable Member for Serekunda West, I thank you very much for bringing this. This is what we expect from us. Let us do things for our people. We are here to serve our people, to defend our people, to defend the integrity of our people, and to promote the standard of living of our people. Rental issues have to be taken care of. You cannot be just increasing rent every day without increasing anything on that facility that you rented me 5 years ago. Honorable Speaker, with those simple remarks, I beg to move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal. Honorable members, I now invite the mover of the motion. I now invite the Honorable Member for Serekunda West to respond to issues raised and to wind up the debate. Honorable Member for Serekunda West.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I must salute your support. As you've all alluded to, the bill is a concern for all of us. And therefore, the kind of support you have given is actually what I expected. But nonetheless, I would respond to a few points to make clarifications, because the majority are in support of it. The issue of legal tender, like you rent your property to somebody and you are asked to pay in a different currency, that is illegal. In fact, I would remind members not long ago, a tenant and a landlord were in the High Court. Actually, it's the landlord that took the tenant to the High Court. But actually, what was before the court was he was asking the tenant to pay in foreign currency. And the ruling was in favor of the tenant. That is illegal. So, in a nutshell, it is illegal really to pay in any other currency.
but we can still look at it. Honorable members, there were concerns, especially the issue of most rental properties are not registered. If you look at the 2014 Act, it's there. Properties must be registered. I think what is lacking is on the side of the arm that is responsible of implementing it. You see, if I had the powers, if it had not been the Constitution, that you cannot come with a private member's bill that will have cost on the consolidated fund, I would have asked for a rent control authority. Then the regulations can come and that authority would have some powers to look at some of these things and regulate it. But actually, it's it's in the laws. It just needs to be implemented. So, and the issue of the $7,000, some members are saying it is on the low side. Well, again, this is a matter for all of us. And laws that are made here, the credit cannot go to one individual. This bill, I cannot implement this bill. I cannot approve this bill. It is just an idea association coming from one person, but it's you. If it passes, it is you. If it does not pass, it is the whole house, not me. I just have an idea. So this credit goes to all of us. So we can look at it when we reach that point to see whether the 7,000 is on the low side or on the high side. But I was just looking at the realities on the ground now. With the 2014 Act, it was saying the low cost is 3,000. And how many of us are paying 3,000 for the rent now? Even Roman Palo is more than 3,000 now. Honorable Speaker, the issue of 5% was raised by some members, including the member for Woolly East. And the 5% is supposed to be an annual basis, because what obtains here is landlords will increase their rents more than 2 times within 1 year. Just to have a control measure, we said you cannot increase your rent within 12 months 2 times. And even on annual basis, you cannot go beyond 5%. That is the objective of the 5%. But again, like I said, this should be a collective responsibility for all of us. When we reach to where we would look at these clauses, then ideas can come. For a good number of members supported the bill. But again, Member for Jarrell said, we are good at making laws, but we do not implement them. I agree to some extent. But you see, the implementation of laws is the citizens that should take responsibility. If you are aggrieved, you have to go to the court and test the laws in the courts. If you are aggrieved, you don't go to the courts will not come and find you in your house. So I am telling the Gambian people that if this law is passed, let members take it as a Quran or Bible in their houses. Look at the clauses. Anytime you are aggrieved, go to the courts. That's where the court will say whether you are right or wrong. But if you don't go to the courts, actually the law cannot be implemented. Of course, I agree some parts of this act, there must be a body that should do the implementation. And that is why I said if I had the powers, I would have created a rent control authority. Then we can empower those people to do the follow-ups and do some of the implementations. Honorable Speaker, there were also some comments made by Banjul Central, 5% yes, Brikama North, the mode of payment and method, yes, that has been captured. For telling in the 12-month, the bill is talking, if I really don't misunderstood you, it's actually meant to control the increment. Yes, they have their ways and tactics of increasing their rent. But we are saying that if you are to evict me from your house or premises, you must give me a written notice of 90 days. And then the tenants will look for a place. And I don't think when this bill comes to pass as an act, the landlords will think twice. Getting your place 3 months on like not giving you anything, or leaving the person there and then do your increment of 5%, they will weigh the two. Again, we cannot really overcome all their tactics, but then these are just means of controlling. I thank the honorable member for opinion for withdrawing, because I guess he has the same thinking along with others. And yes, on consultation, some members raised it, first with the honorable member for Joshua, whether I have consulted the ministry. You know, when you come up, they are coming up with a private members bill. Yes, you can consult a lot of stakeholders, but you cannot exhaust it. But I can rightly tell you that the ministry is in the picture from day one. From day one, they are in the picture. And at one point, one of them reached out to me to say, how far have I gone with it? And I at the time, I told the person that it is already gazetted. And they were interested in the bill so that they can add it to whatever they want to come up with to add value to their own thing. So the consultation was there. But like the saying, you cannot tell a hungry man, wash your hand before you eat. We have an existing law. We've seen gaps. We want to address the gaps. We cannot wait for the holistic approach. We have to act now as members of National Assembly to save the suffering of our people. Do we have to wait for the holistic approach and leave our people continue to suffer? Or can we remedy it now, and when the holistic approach comes, it adds more value to it, then the credit goes to all of us. So I urge honorable colleagues that let us act on this and wait on whatever the ministry is going to come up with, and then it will add value to whatever we are coming to make. Honorable Speaker, the issue of deposit, yes, Jara West mentioned that. That is not captured in the bill, but like I said, the bill is going to be for all of us to make it. So if we reach a certain stage and there's a need, we could, because a deposit actually is an issue in this country. Landlords will ask for a deposit before you go in, and then they will ask for upfront payment of 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. It depends. But then if we reach to that level, Honorable Jara and the rest of the colleagues, we can tackle it. Honorable Speaker, yes, another issue was raised which was not captured in the act by nominated Honorable Maimouna Cissé, the issue of brokers. Actually, yes, there are 3 parties in the rent business: the landlord, the tenant, and of course the brokers. That has not been captured by the amendment, but then again, it is not late because it is not yet before the whole house. So we will consider that when we come to the whole house so that we do the needful. And the issue of register was raised, but like I mentioned in the 2014 Act, it is there. So it is government that should make sure that all premises that are on the rentage should be paid, should be registered. And I think they are more focused on big tenants than big landlords than the minor ones. But I think every butut is important as far as national building is concerned. So government should not allow any loopholes where we will lose income. Yes, and I agree with Honorable Member for Oliunum that we need to have a rental classification. And again, yes, we could see, but then in the issue of rental classification, yes, it could be in the amendment, but again, it could also be a task given to a rent control authority to do that. But again, when we come to the Committee of Whole House, I think we can do something. So, Honorable Speaker, I cannot agree more with the Honorable Member of Lower Salum and Sabah Sanjak that this is just a few clauses of change in the Parent Act. So actually, I think if we do the needful, we could really do justice at the Committee of Whole House. And I will urge honorable members that really we should just deal with this at the Committee of Whole House rather than referring to a relevant committee. But again, the authority is in your hands, not me. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, like I said, the issue of a holistic approach, yes, we just need to act now and amend so that when the holistic approach comes, then it will take care of the ones that are left out. I think to end up, because there was support from no concern raised by Brikama South and Brikama and Banjul North, but Bunkakunda raised a question as who will implement it. We already have a tribunal, rent tribunal. They're there. It's just a matter of acting. But who should implement, who should take care of it is there. The rent tribunal is already there. All we need is really, people should just take the law and test it in the courts. Honorable Speaker, I think these are some of the concerns raised. I may skip others, but I think I have captured everybody. And I'm very pleased to note that it really generated a very impressive response from members of the Assembly. At least 22 members intervened. Out of that, 2 withdrew. And the rest, I know, are with us. So I want to seize this opportunity to thank the honorable members of this House that this is how we can really serve our people, because this is something that is affecting everybody, either directly or indirectly. I just want to agree with Honorable Savasanya that Janija should just keep quiet because he is not a tenant. Honorable Speaker, on these notes, I thank all members of the National Assembly for the support, and
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Serekunda West. Let me thank you on behalf of both sides of the Assembly for ably tabling your motion and also responding to issues raised. Just to add that some of the fears that you members raised that you rightly said about this foreign currency payment, Section 17 of the Principal Act forbids payments in foreign currency. Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that the bill entitled Rent Amendment Bill 2023 be read a second time. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Clerk, can you read the short title of the bill?
Rent Amendment Bill 2023.
Honorable members, in accordance with Order 68.1 of the Standing Orders, the bill is hereby referred to the Assembly Business Committee for committal to either a committee or a committee of the whole Assembly. Honorable members, let me thank you all, from the Honorable Member for Serekunda West to all honorable members here present, those who have contributed or not. I think it has been a very useful debate, very informative, and at the various stages of the bill, I know members will be able to have time to add value to the bill so that it will serve the purposes for which it is set. I thank you very much. Clerk, just a while before you proceed, just a while. Okay, I'll call this guy.
Amendment number 2, Bill 2023 was done on Tuesday, 12 December 2023, and today is appointed for the second reading in accordance with Standing Order 66, Sub 2. Therefore, pursuant to Order 67 of the Standing Orders, I now invite the Honorable Member for Latikunda Saviji to move a motion for the second reading of the bill entitled Local Government Amendment Number 2, Bill 2023. Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. And I thank the honorable members for taking their time to sit and listen to the objects and reasons of this bill, which will be followed by ensuing debate. Honorable Speaker, the bill seeks to give nominated councillors and selected members of the local councils voting rights as opposed to the 2022 Local Government Act to ensure that the interests of all Gambians are represented in the local government. 2002, correct. Nominated councillors and selected members are nominated and selected by the mayors and chairpersons in concurrence with the minister to represent the groups that may not be adequately represented during electoral process, such as women, youth, the alikalos, district chiefs, and people with disabilities. Giving them voting rights will ensure that their voices are heard and their needs are considered in decision-making process. It will also promote democracy and good governance. Democratic institutions are based on principle of popular participation. Giving nominated councillors and selected members voting rights will allow them to participate fully in the democratic process and hold the elected councillors accountable. Honorable Speaker, it will also ensure that all members of the council have a voice in decision-making and promote democracy and accountability at the local government level. Giving nominated councillors and selected members rights to vote will allow for more nuanced and informed decision-making process by taking into account the views of a wider range of stakeholders and encourage greater participation in local government. Moreover, Honorable Speaker, it will enhance effective representation. Local governments are supposed to represent the interests of all residents in their community. Giving all members of the council rights to vote helps to ensure that this happens. Participation in decision-making is vital, thus giving all members of the council rights to vote and encourage greater participation in local government. This is important because it helps to ensure that the council is a representative of the community and that its decisions are informed by the views of all residents. Honorable Speaker, moreover, it will improve the quality of local government decision-making. Nominated councillors and selected members are often have expertise in specific areas such as education, health, social welfare, etc. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, giving them voting rights will allow them to contribute their knowledge and skills to the decision-making process, which will lead to better outcomes for all Gambians. For example, Honorable Speaker, a nominated councillor and a selected member who is a woman rights activist could use his or her voting rights to advocate for policies that benefit women and girls. Honorable Speaker, a nominated councillor or a selected member who is a youth leader could use his or her voting rights to advocate for policies that benefit young people, and a nominated councillor or a selected member who is a person with disability could use his or her voting rights to equally advocate for policies that make local government services more accessible to people with disabilities. Honorable Speaker, giving nominated councillors and selected members voting rights will be a positive step towards promoting democracy, good governance, and interest for all Gambians. Honorable Speaker, in my effort to gather cross-partisan support for the bill, this is what some honorable members said. The decision of whether not to grant voting rights to nominated councillors ultimately requires a careful consideration of the potential benefits and drawbacks in the context of the Gambia's specific political and social landscape, and this includes potential for dilution of elected representation. Honorable Speaker, some members argue that granting voting rights to nominated councillors could undermine the power and legitimacy of elected councillors who represent specific constituent wards. This could lead to a feeling of disenfranchisement among voters. The answer to this is no. Another concern, Honorable Speaker, about some express about political interference. Some fear that nominated councillors could be appointed based on political affiliations or patronage, rather than
order. Honorable members, please order.
This could lead to biased decision-making and undermine the council's independence. This is true. That is why it is the responsibility of this august body to bring in laws to improve that aspect. Some argue about implementation challenges. Honorable Speaker, defining the selection criteria, nomination process, and voting rights, structure for nominated councillors requires careful consideration and potential amendments to existing legislation. This is exactly why I started this, and I encourage other honorable members to bring in laws to that effect.
Allow the honorable member to continue, please. Member for Brikama South, Brikama North, Central, Baribu Central.
Honorable Speaker, I will remind this august body that we are creation of a law, and it is our responsibility to amend and amend the laws, and that becomes the law, and that's the law, and we are all subjects of the law. Thank you very much.
Any seconder? Member for Busumbara.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much. Mover of the motion, Honorable Radikunda Sabiji. Local Government Amendment Act. I seconded the motion, Honorable Speaker, and I prepare to make a statement as a debate. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, the mover of the motion, Honorable Radikunda. The Local Government Amendment Act before us today is a progressive one, looking at the objective and the reasons of this bill is to seek democracy, is to effectively promote democracy. And in the promotion of democracy, Honorable Speaker, the members will bear with me that participation is a key. And the bill here is seek for the nominated councillors at our local government council to take part effectively in decision-making of the council. How can they do that? Honorable Speaker, is through having a voting right. Having a voting right to partake in the decision-making of the council is in essence going to promote quality of that decision in the council. Let's say these nominated members or selected members are representing an interest group from various sectors of our society. For example, allowing a nominated or selected member representing a business community having a voting right in that council, in essence, going to promote and advance the interests of the business community in that council. For example, nominated or selected member having a voting right, taking part in that decision-making, representing that of the disabled group in that disabled group in the society, is going to enhance and promote the voices of the disabled or differently abled individuals within that particular society. So goes to the women's representative being selected to represent the will, the aspirations of women in that council. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, this bill is not in any way trying to make comparison between the National Assembly nominated or selected members and that of the council. But we are trying, the bill is trying to align itself to the best principle of representation in terms of democracy. Having nominated and selected members of this house having a voting right to represent the interest group they are representing here also can be extended to their younger ones in the their junior ones in that of the council. That is the council's representatives representing various groups nominated by the chairperson or the mayor of that particular council. This is the idea or the reason and objective of this bill. And my brother, Honorable Yaya Sanyang, member for Ladrikunda, deemed it felt necessary to present, to table this bill before members of this assembly, just to, bridge the gap that exists in terms of quality representation that is happening in that council. With these few remarks, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. In accordance with Order 67(1) of the Standing Orders, I will now open the floor for debate on the general merits and principle of the bill. Any honorable member who wishes to partake in the debate may do so now by show of tag. Member for Brikama South.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to take part in this important debate. I want to thank the mover of this particular bill and the author of the bill for coming out with this important foresight in order to have effective representation in our local governance structure. Honorable Speaker, is very evident in the object at reason where it has manifest an effective representation when you come to the issue of the local governance. It's very important, as we will really agree to, the set of group that the object and the reason is mentioning in terms of representation, representing a specific group that are very, very important. Sometimes it could be very unfortunate to partake in a debate and you don't have any voting right. We all understand perfectly anytime issues emerge, people tend to have divergent view. And in a situation whereby majority decision stands, and you represent that specific grouping, that are very, very important. And that is why the acts allow them to be nominated or selected from that particular group to represent them at the General Council. I believe for the sake of democracy, that opportunity should be availed to them to vote on their decision in which they are arguing on behalf of their specialized group. So this is very, very important, and I think the author of this particular bill has a very good intent as enshrined in the object and the reasons. Even if you look at our own parliament, our laws are not kind of discriminatory in the sense that you allow both the nominated and the elected members to vigorously partake in debate and vote for their argument. So these are very important. I think the trickle-down effect has to go up to that local council level, which I really support. And I believe for the sake of democracy and good governance, it's a progressive one. And I want to urge members to give our blessing to this particular piece of legislation that we want to make in respect to the voting right of the selected and nominated members. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I definitely want to thank you, and I beg to take my seat.
Thank you. I now recognize the member for Nyani.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I sincerely thank the legislator of the bill for coming up with this wonderful bill. Looking at some of the merits, it could be representation, exclusivity, expertise and experience, accountability, balanced decision-making, strengthening democracy, and building trust. But, Honorable Speaker, I have a question for the legislator of the bill. That is, have you made any consultation with the Select Committee of Regional Government and the Ministry of Ministry of Local Government? Honorable Speaker, the credit for what you do is not important, but the importance of what you do. We all know that selected councillors can be given a voting right. But we are also aware, as a member of the Select Committee of Regional Government, I've done my consultations, my findings, and the Parent Act, that is the 2022 Act, it was in this very parliament, 2002, it was in this very parliament when FPAC passed a resolution, I quote, that's 23 of the resolution, the Select Committee on Regional Government and Lands, Ombudsman and IEC must ensure the Local Government Act 2022 and the Finance Audit Manual 2024 are reviewed latest December 2023. And if we pass this, all these things, this is already included in the Parent Act. Now, it is only left with the consultation and the national validation in which the Select Committee is pushing the ministry so hard for it to be done in the soonest possible time. I think bringing this, Honorable Speaker, to me, it means we are putting the cart before the horse. Honorable Speaker, looking at the Local Government Act 2022, there are a lot of important things that are affecting the councillors. If I give you a voting right and I did not give you something that you can put in your pocket, I'm not still liberating you. I feel we need to look at the general act than only looking at the portion in the act. I'm a member of the Select Committee, but nothing was discussed. I haven't witnessed anywhere in our meetings where we discussed this. And I feel that at least he would have consulted the Select Committee so that at least we'll give him the tip of the iceberg and also inform him the stage at which we are. We have taught the councils for the second time, and we have noted all issues that are affecting the councillors. But sometimes I feel as a patriotic citizen, we should not be driven by our sentiments or the comments on Facebook, but let us do the right thing. Honorable Speaker, on that note, I better take my seat.
Thank you very much, Member Fanyani. I now invite the member for Fonyi Councillor to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My voice, I've lost my voice, but I'll try to contribute to this budget. Honorable Speaker, I thank the move of the motion for Latikunda Savage. I believe he has stated in objection reasons about the various reasons of democracy and good governance. I believe that's the center stage since 2016. And we believe that laws are here as a guide, and these laws will also enhance our movement. Honorable Speaker, in aspects of councillors, as we all know, I think we have to be very clear the direction that we want to take and how do we want to pursue issues of nominated members within both cadres, in which we could also have a sense of direction to see that this law is here for prosperity. Honorable Speaker, we believe that here are stated various reasons of where nominations could be categorized into various, trade or even disability, whatever. But I want to put this to the honorable member for Latikunda Savage. We've seen nominations. And those nominations, most of those nominations may not be along the line of disability or the youthful aspects. It's more of a party line, or it's more of an interest group, or it's more of who do I want to be with my position. So I would also want to see and suggest in the bill, if it is possible, for us to put something that will regulate that such, whereby if you talk of youth, it has to be youth in its category. If you talk of disability, it has to be. If you talk of business group, it has to be. If you talk of religious aspect, it has to be. But most of the cases, we bring laws for the sake of laws or for the sake of issues. So here, we could only make progression as a country, or in us building laws, if we are really serious on what we are advocating for. And I believe this is heart-touching. You cannot nominate somebody, be at the council, he or she has no right to vote or to be voted for. So I think we could better put it, if you look at it critically, when you go to the committee of the whole house, we could enrich it and see the categories that he is trying to work on. Where if you talk of youths, you don't bring an old guy representing the youths when he has no idea about youth folk. If you talk about this vulnerability, a lot of nominees that are nominated are not even in that particular category. So I think we should move away from those old adages of he is my friend, I want to empower, I also want to use him in my voting right. Because these are consensus that we have to be very clear. And these are frank opinions. Issues of nomination that are done is based on party line, or who do I believe to stand for me when the need arises. So if those issues are, engulfing in our nomination, I think it will defeat the purpose. So I think we better put it in the right decision that if you have to nominate 5 based on categories, we have to put laws that will govern the nomination, in which it will help and also enrich and also make informed decision or wherever we want to move as a country. And again, also, Honorable Member Fonyani also laid something that is very, very important. Sometimes you could nominate, be it in council, give him a voting right. But if his pay is not in the right direction, it's still a challenge. So these are things that we are seeing in the council. And I think we are the decision makers. And sometimes I could see this where I will link my submission to remind all of us that we are representative of the people. Whatever law that we enact to suit us, we should also look at the reflection on the other side. But we only constitute ourselves and say, okay, let's change this to suit us and deny others. This is not part of progressiveness. And this is not part of democracy that we are yearning for. Though I'm not a fan of democracy, because I think democracy is cheats elements of issues. We have to be frank. We are not democratic. What is democracy? We have a traditional democracy that had governed us better. And today, you and me, we are not flying. But when we borrowed ourselves into democracy that are not part and parcel of us, we are sinking and will continue to sink. So, be rest assured, we believe that the honorable member had made a very good intention of this particular bill. But I believe that the bill should be more of reflection. We have to get cadres to defend our laws. But not only bringing law. Sometimes you wonder, you said member so-and-so is nominated in this category. Member so-and-so is nominated. But if you look at the reflection there, you see a huge disparity in their nomination. So if we have governing laws to, make sure it protects that line, it will definitely help. And also seen, because most of the cases, the fear factor is if I don't nominate or if he doesn't answer to my tune as a nominee, he or she may face a difficult. That's why I think the legislative body of Fifth Legislature did it onto their own and suit their own, that you could jump and fly to another political bandwagon and you are free. So this is what they did. So here, laws, you don't set laws to be onto you set laws for progressiveness. You set laws for a particular cause. We don't set laws to suit. If this law doesn't suit me, I'm not part of it. If it doesn't suit another one, I will not. So in not doing it, it was very, very difficult for us to make a movement. So on that note, I think the honorable member, the bill is progress as per the nature of nominated councillors, their voting right is in the right direction, because this is what democracy constitutes. The democratic dispensation that they're talking of constitutes that they have the right to be nominated. and they should also have the right to also have a right to vote. So on that note, I believe we will look at it quickly, and I am in support of the voting right of the nominated council. But I think let's widen the horizon, let's widen the look of the councillors, because they're having a lot of difficulties in council. The councillors in Brikama area will be different from that of Kuntauru. The councillors in Kuntauru will also be different from that of Banjul. They in Banjul will also be different from Mansakonko. So what they will have as a take-home in Brikama, it is far different from the other end. So I believe you could vote, support motion, support whatever the council work. But if you don't have anything in the pocket, it seems as if your voting has no use. So I think let's look at it holistically. If we are to improve, we can also put this there to make sure we enrich it so that it will be passed for prosperity. I therefore take my seat and salute the member. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Member Fonyi Councillor. I now give the floor to the member for Banjul South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am a Democrat, and I believe in a mandate being given by the people. I don't think it's new for me to talk about nominated members. I think so many times in this August House, I have given my position about nominated members. And I think I will be a hypocrite if I should stand here today and support the voting rights of nominated councillors, because I have always spoken. My father has been a nominated member of this August Parliament, and I have never supported the idea of having nominated members. So I will not support the idea of giving nominated councillors the right to vote as a Democrat, because I think that right should be given by the people, and that right is given to elected councillors. We have 121 wards in this country. So if we are talking about representation, popular representation, I think it is widely spread as against 53 constituencies. Mr. Speaker, it says it would enhance effective representation. Local councils are supposed to represent the interests of all residents in their communities. 121 wards are well represented, Mr. Speaker. I think that nominations are imposed on us based on, and this is not the first time I am saying it, I pointed to the speaker here last year saying that he was imposed on us by the president. So I think I'll be a hypocrite to stand here and not say the same when it comes to nominated councillors, because they are imposed by either the chairperson or the mayors or the mayoresses in this country. I do not pretend. It is my principle. I went for elections. Councillors went for elections, so they have every right to vote. I don't believe that people that are imposed on the people, because everybody, if I know that I will not be nominated if I do not share the same beliefs, or if the person nominating me does not expect me to follow their side of any debate. So, Mr. Speaker, I cannot stand here looking at the objects and reasons. The mover of the motion says that it is on democratic institutions are based on principles of popular participation. What is more democratic than electing councillors to sit and represent you in a council? Do we need, if we say that we need their skills, yes, we might need their skills for advice and guidance probably during debates. But if I were to choose, nominated MPs would not have a vote, let alone be the leadership of the parliament. So I cannot be against that in my own parliament and support it in the council. Then I would be a hypocrite, and I am not a hypocrite. Mr. Speaker, I think Like I said, democratic mandate should be given by the people to the people. And there are rightly elected councillors, and they have every right to vote. So I don't believe that I will support or vote for this. In as much as they are good nominated councillors, they can guide, follow proceedings and advise and give their opinion. And he said they can be activists. I think there's a thin line between activists and politics. Once you become a politician, you are no more an activist. And I think we need good politicians, just like we need good activists in this country. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. But I think that nominated members should be nominated members if they are nominated, but I will not enhance their position as nominated members. If this bill was to come to this House for nominated members in this parliament, I will still vote no. And I think this parliament should move towards removing nominated members even in the parliament. So if that should come, are we not going to support it? So I don't think we should give nominated councillors the right to vote when we should be advocating for nominated members of parliament to be removed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, member for Banjul South, for that contribution. I now give the floor to the member for Fonyi Bintang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to use this opportunity to thank the member for Latrikunda Sabiji for coming with such a thing. Nomination. If people are nominated, we nominated them because they have ideas. We nominated them because they are thinking. We nominated them because we want their ideas to also be part of the decision-making process. If we don't want them there, then we should not nominate them. But so long they are nominated and are there in the council, then they must partake in the decision-making process. Because tomorrow, people are going to point fingers to them that you were there when those decisions were made, not knowing that in fact they were not allowed to vote. In the same vein, if the members of the National Assembly who are nominated are allowed to vote, why can't we allow the nominated councillors to vote? This is my question. And representation or nomination and appointment are all similar. Very, very similar. For the fact that we allow the president to be appointed ministers, and they are partaking in the decision-making process. We allow the Chief Justice to be appointed. They are partaking in the decision-making process. We allow the nominated members here to partake in the decision-making process. We believe that they are with ideas. That's why we are allowing them. But what is wrong in it is, how are they nominated? Because we belong to the same political party. That is what is wrong. These party ideas, this party sticking into the minds of the people, that if I am not in the same party with you, we are not related. We are not, if I am not in the same party with you, you should not be nominated, even if you have ideas, even if you have the knowledge that is required for the position, even if you are sincere, but because we are not in the same political party, so I cannot nominate you. That is where the problem lies. In reality, that is where the problem lies. So we look at the sincerity of the Gambian people. How are we sincere to ourselves? How are we sincere to our nation? How are we sincere to the job that we are doing? That is the problem. But if the people we are nominating are sincerely nominated in the sense that he has the ideas, even if we don't belong to the same political party. He is sincere to the nation, even if we don't belong to the same political party. And he can think critically and come up with solutions, even if we don't belong to the same political party. Then we will move in the right direction. But so long we have created precedents of allowing the members of the National Assembly who are nominated to vote, and been given different positions in the National Assembly. Why can't we allow the councillors to vote? It's a question. Why can't we allow the councillors, nominated councillors, to vote? I think when we are looking at the issues, we must look at issues as a nation and as a country that want to progress in the right direction. Sincerity in nation development is key and central. It is not my duty to give you a lengthy speech. What is my duty to give you ideas? And allow people to think and let us see what will better the situation. But I am in for the nominated councillors. If they are nominated and they are there already, then they should vote. If the nominated members of the National Assembly are voting, then the nominated councillors should vote. I stand by that. And at times it is good. You stand by your ideas, even if you are to stand alone. It makes no difference. Let you be sincere to yourself, be sincere to your nation, and be sincere to your people. Abanta, thank you.
Thank you, Thank you very much, Member Fufoni Bintang Karanai. I now give the floor to the Member Fufoni Barefet.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Thank you. I would like to thank the Honorable Member of Latrikunda, the mover of the motion of Local Government Act Amendment Bill. The idea of this bill, as he stated here clear, that is to give right to the nominated members to vote in the council. Honorable Speaker, as a representative of the people, you need to think and speak on your mind, not to be advised by any person, but your mind alone. So as a honorable member, I know that the nominated members of area council, I think they have right to vote. And I support this bill. I am in support of this bill. Honorable member, if you nominate a person to represent the youths of the Gambia in an area council, and you are there, just the name a representative of the youths of the Gambia, you never have any right to vote. What is the essence of you being there? You have no use in being to that area council because you have no right to vote. Let us be honest to each other. If nominated members in the parliament have right to vote, they equally have right to get constituency development fund equally to elected members. Why not nominated member of area council to have right just to vote? If you talk about settling other problems here, when we don't need nominated members to vote, let us not even allow them to be nominated. Let us stop the name nominating people. Because elected people in this parliament are equal with the nominated members here. Nominated members in area council have no right to vote. You are just there. Honorable Speaker, let us forget about this party. I am even proud and happy that I am an independent candidate in the Gambia parliament. I support any idea which is important for the country. And I will disagree on any idea which is not important for this country. This area council, another party will come and even occupy that chair. And after passing this bill, or after rejecting this bill, one day or other, you will want your nominated members to vote. If we say that nomination is done on party line, on party base, I have never seen any president who nominate a different party. Never. They nominate the people who are working together in their parties. Why that area council should nominate somebody from another party? No. They will do it. They will nominate their people, the people that are working together. So it depends on that nominated person to work between him and God that you are serving this country. Like what our sisters here are doing, the nominated members in the parliament here. Sometimes they work seriously and they serve this country perfectly because they swear to the Holy Quran to serve. Yes, they always tell the truth. But sometimes they're here to support only MPP agendas. Thank you so much.
The member. The member for Fonyi Berefet, thank you very much. You are biased because you only talked about your sisters. No, what about your brothers? Well, it's heartening to know that your sisters are doing well and they are working, they've been equal to the task. Thank you very much for that. We congratulate you and we congratulate your sisters as well. I now give the floor to the member for Banjul Central.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would first of all like to thank the Honorable Member for Latikunda Saviji for bringing forth this bill to this August body. Personally, I think it's a very progressive bill. We have a very delicate issue here because we all know that the Local Government Act really needs a lot of amendments. Currently is in our committee, the Local Government Committee. We are looking at so many issues that will be addressed in the upcoming bill. And I think this bill brought forth would be very vital in making sure these reforms are reflective of that act. Honorable Speaker, a lot of members here have voiced their take with regards to this bill. I personally would concur with the idea that, like the Honorable Member for Fonyi Berefet said, if we agree collectively in our acts that there should be members who would be nominated, I don't think we should benchmark it to just the National Assembly, if that's what we agreed on, to be very honest. The local government speaks for itself. Local government, they are part of the government, but they are also authorities that have their own regulations, that have their own procedures, they have their own representatives, that have different functions from us, the National Assembly members. And to be very, very fair and to be very, to reflect on this on a holistic perspective, the nominated members here have a voting right in this August body. And we vote, and they vote on very critical issues that have direct effect on the everyday lives of Gambians, right? So I don't see any reason why nominated councillors on a local government level, representing different facets of society, you name it education, you name it health, the CSOs, every local government you go, they have a youth rep that represents the youth fraternity, that speaks as their voice, that puts forth their aspirations, right? So imagine those people, that particular embodiment, just going there, sitting, collecting allowances, and not having a voting right. It really doesn't make any sense. Yes, I did make mention of it. These people are experts in their different facets. Though it's rather unfortunate nowadays, nominated members are not handpicked based on their expertise. They are handpicked on a political lens that we have to admit here. It's across the board, not only from government level to the opposition side. It's the same. I think this is something we should all have agreement on. So we have to revisit our laws, really. Are we going to be in agreement that nominated members are going to be accepted across the board and we agree on it aside? Or are we going to generally embed it in our laws that we are going to cease from accepting nominated members on all facets of governance? So this is a decision that lies with us. With regards to this bill, Honorable Speaker, it depends on how one sees it, right? Maybe most of the people here, most of the honorable members here are part of parties. Us, for example, as independents, we do not have a very strong political background, I would say. Most of us are newcomers. So the way we view things and the way you guys view things might be different, right? So we are here to make progressive laws that, will be embedded on a progressive perspective in the near futures, right? Sometimes you might choose to see things on a political lens, and who knows, next time, maybe in fast forward in 3-5 years time, you might be in a particular position, and then you might have voted, not in favor of this particular bill based on your current stance, So that's why when we are making laws, we have to be, open-minded in the way we make things. And whatever laws that we tend to make, let's always consider that we are making them on behalf of the people. Let's not make laws based on our current political affiliation or where we stand currently or how we see things based on, what's good for us. Or that's very, I would say that would be very biased and very, self-implicating, I would say, because we will all be tested one way or another. Most of us here will not only stop at Parliament here. Who knows? The next president might be from here, the next chairman of certain area council might be from here. Who knows? So you might set a law here that you think currently it's not, it's not really good, but later on in the future, it might come to haunt you. So it's better to just do the right thing whilst we're here. No, I'm just saying, Yeah, and I also think, Honorable Speaker, that it's a problem here in the Gambia. From the government down, from the opposition side, usually appointees are based on partisan affiliations, right? So personally, I think that there are many ways that you can, persuade political influence in decision making in many ways. But most of the time, we peck it on, handpicking certain people and put them in positions to be able to, serve us, as we wish. And usually, most of the time, though here I would say in this August body, we have very professional people who are doing their level best to make sure the decisions that we do are judicious and just. But I think this is something that everyone will agree that is currently a plague here in our society, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, this issue is either or, right? It's either or. It's not very complicated. Since it's in our act that we decide that we will have nominated members, we've given precedence to the National Assembly, and the honorable member for Fonyi Brefet said it. They do not even stop at voting, and their votes carry weight, actually. Their votes have an effect on the everyday citizenry of the Gambia, right? So why do we have to only pick it on the National Assembly? What's so special about it, right? And they even go as far as also having a constituency development fund. And they do not have constituencies, though they come from constituencies, but they are not technically representing constituencies, right? So, right? We are just saying it as it is, right? So I do not see why we should just set a precedence for the National Assembly, and then the local councils, like, it's like it's either or, because their allowances are paid from our taxpayers. So imagine just paying them allowances every single month, and they will just go there and just fold their hands without making any decisions. Who are they representing, actually? So, Honorable Speaker, on that note, I rise to support.
Thank you very much, member for Banjul Central. I now recognize the member for Woolly East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I will also thank the member for Latrekunda Sabiji for initiating this important debate. Honorable Speaker, this country is a republic, and we must not forget that. And that should be the beginning of our discussion. The honorable member for Banjul South has said something about that. In a republic, we are all equal. And it is the people who should select or elect their representatives to any representative body. That's what democracy entails in a republic, in a country that is sovereign. These are monarchical features, and we are not ready to get rid of them. I give a mask, like for example, this mask that they put up and down. It's the colonial legacy. If you go to our courts, they put those type of wigs. It's colonial legacy. So many of them. It's like we want to be Muslims, but we are nominal Muslims. We still go to shrines to worship trees, but we say we are Muslims. So if you are a republic and you are independent, you are in a sovereign republic, you are a democracy, but you still allow one authority to select some people to come to representative bodies to represent them, that is a monarchical feature. And that is the crisis we have. And it's confusing to have it in the Constitution for the president to nominate 5 people. That was what the Queen was doing, the monarch was doing. The monarch was nominating people to parliament so that he can have an edge in a debate. He can have an edge when it comes to decision making. Because he was a monarch. Now we have a president that we have elected, who was equal to everybody. We elected him or her, and he's representing all of us. That man should not have another power where he's going to nominate another 5 to come to this parliament. That will not be democratic. It's like giving members of the parliament to nominate people to the council. That would not be democratic. So we are in a crisis. The draft constitution that was rejected has clearly delineated those things and removed nominated members from representative bodies. It has done that very well. But we have rejected it. So we are back to square one. We cannot do anything about this. Somebody said it. He said they are in the parliament here. They are voting. So they are in the councils also. Justice directs that they also vote until we get rid of monarchical laws. Until we get rid of monarchical laws, there will be no justice. They are here voting. They are in the council not voting. Is that fair? That's fair. You see that to be fair? It's not fair, it's not democratic, it's not republican. So if he comes with the idea that we allow those people in the councils to vote, I would say yes. Until we change the law, they should vote if we are going to be fair to them. If we are going to be fair to them, they should vote. But the problem is the principle I am opposed to is the very principle of nomination. We should have come with quota system. We could have come with proportional representation. And we could even do it in such a way that this house could have been half women, half men. That is more progressive. We could have come with quota system that would bring, disability people here. That would bring youths. All the marginalized groups could have been here through proportional representation. But we are not ready to take those steps to make our country democratic. We want to go half and half, monarchy and democracy. It cannot go. So, Honorable Speaker, the role of nominated members, as enshrined in our Constitution, is for them to take promote alternative views. If the MPP is here promoting their views, the UDP here is promoting their views, we expect them to promote alternative views. That may not necessarily be the view of any political party here, But they'll be very beautiful of the people that they were supposed to represent. They were supposed to represent, for example, the youth. They were supposed to represent the marginalized groups like the disability groups, etc., etc. So we expect them when they come here, we'll be talking about our partisan issues, but they will be focused on the problems of those people if they were indeed nominated to represent those people. We all know what Honorable Ndeye Yasin Seka was doing here. He was always focused on disability. Always focused on disability. That is the spirit of nomination. And I believe that we should continue to put that into them, to ensure that they represent the areas that they are assigned to represent. So if I am going to make a decision in this, it's a very difficult decision, but I would say let's allow those who are in the councils also to vote. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. I now invite the member for Banjul North. Member for Lower Salom.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving the floor. And I also thank the member for bringing this bill in this parliament. You have done what is expected from you, and members will decide what to do next. Honorable Speaker, as we say, as we see things clearly, the mover of this bill, Honorable Speaker, my question is, how sincere of his bringing this bill in this parliament? Honorable Speaker, you know, bringing laws for your favors or bringing laws on the reality that is happening in that current situations. He said on his statement that members said is partisan. It has never come to my notice. It's today we are laying on this thing. Means for him, the essence of him bringing this document in parliament, we have to question it there. What is the real state of these affairs, of bringing this document in parliament? When the local councils, robbing our people, I think we have no arrest. When local councils are mishandling our funds, when there's no progress in local councils. To be frank with you today, we are deviating from these nominated members. They are backed by the constitutional provisions. That's powers invested to the president to nominate 5. And it's left to them. Powers is vested to the president to nominate 5. You and I give our votes to the president. He is there to make decisions. So bringing 5 to represent the masses, I don't think it's a problem. And they were backed by the constitution. And again, if you check the Principal Act, bringing this, the member could have made a very good consultation with the stakeholders. How members of councils are nominated. In this reality today, you have seen it. What is happening in the councils? A nominated member will stood there and say whatever he wants to say. Whether the council chairman is in the right track or not. But he or she is nominated by the chairperson. But whether the due process has been taken place. No. All of these nominees that they have done, it doesn't pass due process. You will feel it, you yourself, that I'm the chairman, that I am representing which political party, but I'll bring my people in. We cannot develop when this political ideology is in our head. No council here can bring their article financial report correctly. None of them. They have robbed us. We are not talking about that. And now the central government and the line minister said they have to holistic look on this act. Why in a rush on this issue? The principle is here. How these people should be nominated. But in the reality, in the ground, that's not the case. It's not happening. Just a typical example. Banjul City Council, what is happening there? No, the issue is the way we are taking things. I don't think we can move as a country. If the member brings that I am here to promote democracy, and those one that we have nominated to represent us, as long as we are not in a party, but they are not exercising that democracy in that councils. They are there to defend the chairman ideologies and the chairman decisions. And they are not representing our people. So where is democracy there? Yes, I have no problem. They don't have a voting right. But the person that is elected by the people, that power is invested that man. You said there should be equal right. Then it's better I stay and going after that chairman, on his so clean that I want you to promise that if you being a chairman, you put me in that house to come and defend you. I've seen what is happening. This current situation in the local governance is very poor and very sad. Only their party representatives are nominated. No due process is taken. And these are the people that you said I should give a voting right. No, I cannot do that. If you, that who is nominated, you are doing the right thing, no problem. But none of them is doing it. None of them. And you have seen what is happening now. The member could have checked the way they are nominated to make that provisions. That is here. This is the principal act. It's here, all I'm saying is. But the chairman is not doing it because if now let me read that that's the Local Government Act, the Principal Act. That's 11. 2. Now, the nominated members shall be proposed by the civil organizations or interest groups they represent and appointed by the chairman with concurrent of the Secretary of State. That's the minister.
Yes.
No.
Please, order, please. Allow him to come. Honorable member for
You have the floor, then you can go on. You have no problem. You are my junior. I've been here since 2017. You cannot, how to call it, distract me. No, you can't distract me. I've been doing this, don't worry. You can get the floor.
Order. Member for Janjambure.
You can get the floor.
Please, honorable members, take your seat. Member for Janjambure, please allow decorum. Member for Lower Salem, proceed.
Don't worry, this parliament. He cannot distract me, don't worry. Honorable Speaker, this member didn't make any consultation with the stakeholders. One. Because now, if this is in the act now, the member could have do if the consent is clear, he could have go to the minister or the line ministry to talk about this issue. If they want a progressive loss, But in this fragile situation that we have seen. We know what is the interest of this. The interest of this amendment, we know it. You and I, if you don't have that talk, I know what is the purpose of this. So if we are making laws or design laws, let's not see the interest at that particular time. We have to put things in order for future use. But in the current situation, we have seen what is happening. Honorable Speaker, if a council should nominate, or the chairperson should nominate 1/5, he could have told us how many BCC, KMC, Brikama Area Council, Kuntaur, give us the statistics. And you clear your doubts. But you yourself, in your motions, say that members told these are partisan issues. And the current situation that is happening, we have seen it, that we are not represented. The council nominated members are not representing the communities. In fact, this nomination will go on certain criteria in the business sectors, disabilities, you know, in what nominations can happen. But what I'm saying here is, it's not a progressive thing. Because today, you go to Kuntaur Area Council, you're trying to put things with BCC. It's different. And they have to know that they are representing people. Now, if they, what we have seen today in Brikama Area Council, it's a current situation. You have to speak the truth. We allow our people to act on it. But then I have no problem of him bringing it, but I'll make my decisions of the way the nominations is done is incorrect. So what is not correct? I'm not going to support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, member for Lower Salum. I now give the floor to the member for Sanementre. The member for Talinding Kunjang, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. This is very important. Let me first and foremost draw the attention of the August body to Local Government Act Section 11, subsection 1A, subsection 1, which states that the council shall consist of A youth nominated to represent the youth in the area, a woman, B, a woman nominated to represent women's group in the area, alcalos rep, etc. It goes on. But my emphasis goes on to section 11, subsection 2. Nominated members shall be proposed by the civil organization or interest groups they represent and appointed by the chairperson with the approval of the Secretary of State. Now, we should be very careful as members to make misleading information here. There is an act that guides the appointment of nominated members. And I thank the mover for bringing this up, but because for at least once I have been an elected member of a council, and I've later become a nominated member of council. So I can speak with authority how the process goes. Some of the things we are expressing are wrong. There's a process, this procedure, if you don't go by it, you can never become a nominated member. You must be proposed by an interest group. So the Constitution, it does not say you have to be in group A or group, but you have to be a member of a registered group with document, officially registered group. It can be youth council, it can be a youth affiliated group, but it must be an interest group. And then you apply.
Honorable members, order please maintain decorum and allow him to make his point.
And sometimes you can have 2 or 3 applicants, or even 4 or 8, coming from different registered groups. If they are women, coming from different women groups, all of them proposing a candidate for the position. If they are youth, different youth groups, all of them proposing a candidate. If they are disabled, all of them proposing a candidate. So it does not say one specific group. You must represent. So when those things come, the chairman or the mayor selects from this and send it to the ministry. There is no nominated member who do not have the blessing of the ministry. And these appointments follows the procedures they look into. There is no group that proposes an individual based on your party affiliation. So they all meet criteria. And this particular section has been tested with regards to Brikama Area Council's recent appointments. It has been tested, it has been proven. There is no council here that you can call, that will be personal opinion. And let's run away from that. Because any other member you see outside parliament in the committee must have a political affiliation. But when it's coming to representation, that's what we say, come on here. When you are here, you leave our political caps ahead. So people in the council, they are representing a youth group. You still want to look at them with a political lens. That's unfair. Let's be realistic and be truthful to what we are doing. So I want to make this thing clear. The processes of appointments are in line with the Local Government 2002 Act and approved by the ministry. Otherwise, they will reject it. So the ministry has all rights to approve it, disapprove it, and you go and start it again. So let's be mindful of certain utterances we make, because and to go further, as honorable members, in debating a bill, we are looking at the merits and the principles. But some of us are guilty of fallacies of reasoning, what the lawyers or some people who use fallacies of reasoning. And one of these things is what the Greeks call argumentum ad hominem, attack the person.
Honorable member, please forget about the issue of members attacking each other.
Yes, so what I'm saying is,
just go straight to the principle.
Yes, the principle. When we are making arguments, we base it on the merits and principles and not look at who brought up the bill. This is relevant because people spend 30 minutes talking about the character of the person who brought the bill. We forget about the merits and principles of the bill. If you want to do service to this bill, let's look at it and look whether its principle is in line or it has merits to be done. And most of the speakers who said here, they all agree in principle, they all agree in terms of objectives. So it is something that is needed. We all agree also that giving somebody to represent a group without a voting right is as good as nothing. It's as good as nothing. I have been a nominated member. I have suffered it. I know. You represent a group, you can speak for them, but you cannot make decisions on their behalf. And then the issue of voting rights has nothing to do with their pay. That's a different ball game. We agree. There are a lot of holistic changes we should do in the Local Government Act, but let us not forget that a private member bill cannot put cost on government. You cannot bring a private member bill here to say, let us pay councillors. So the little we can do is to change in piecemeal some of the issues that can make huge difference in terms of grassroots representation. And there is no way private member bill, there is through a lot of guidelines in terms of how do you bring private member bills. You don't have to consult a committee. This parliament, this General Assembly has the mandate to subject it to a committee. That's now it becomes the committee's role to look at it. But as private member bill, you don't have authority. No, there's no law that said you must take it to a committee. It's the General Council that should decide now to further take it to committee. So let's not mix tools. Let's not mix things that are not the same. So it is important we understand that these voting rights are important and part of the democratic process. If we want to be champions of democracy. I don't even want to make the comparison of parliament, and for me personally, yes, if there are issues of how they operate, target that and let's reform that and make sure it is done in the right way. But we know that there is need for them to vote to represent the groups that send them there. Otherwise, they are being there. It's just like an elephant, a white elephant. You're just there, but you cannot take decision for them. No one can dispute that. So I want to implore on members to look at the relevance of this bill and how it can advance decision making in council. Let's rise above. Let's rise above mediocrities and strive for effective lawmaking that can enhance any sector we are dealing with. Otherwise, we are undermining the very principles that we are here for, to make good laws for the sectors we represent. So my take is we look at the principles and the objects of the bill and what it seeks to address. I know Nimuva has no relationship with the councils. What the relationship we have now is the relationship the bill is going to do with the councils. So I encourage all of us to embrace this bill because we are working for prosperity, not the people occupying the office. They come and go. They come and go. No one owns that place. So when you're making laws, good laws, make it for prosperity and so that it enhances operations in various councils. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I would like to draw the curtain here and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Tarinding Kunjang, for also attempting to respond to some members. And, members have the right to make their opinion heard, and depending on the argument, most particularly from the member for Lower Salem, that some of these nominations are not adherent to law. And if you look at Volume 5, Cap 3301, Section 11, 2, you said nominated members shall be proposed by the civil organizations or interest groups they represent and appointed by the chairperson with the concurrence of the minister. So it is the minister who could probably confirm if all these nominations during the last local government elections list was sent to their ministry for concurrence.
It always comes.
So, so members have the right to make opinions and also to respond. You also have the right. You were there before, but not anymore. What happened probably last session? What happened last session is the minister who can confirm. Thank you very much, member for Talinding Kunjang. I now give the floor to the member for Brikama North and Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, somebody said earlier on that in terms of private member bills, the sixth legislature is very progressive. I think I have to agree with him. Earlier on, when I laid a foundation, and I foresee a very solid foundation as far as issues surrounding private member bill is concerned. And I'm expecting every session for every member or a member to come up with a private member bill. That is the challenge, and that is the sixth legislature challenge. And I did say, when I was making my concluding remark that day, I must honestly thank this sixth legislature. The manner in which they treated that bill. We focus on what is good for the nation. Of course, we can have political lens, but I did say, for sixth legislature, let's put our bag as such, and then focus on what we have before us, compare to what is in the interest of the people. Honorable Speaker, if that progress is moving at the end of the term, if there should be credit, that credit will not go to anyone but the Honorable Speaker and his deputy, the majority leader and the minority leader, and the whole of the National Assembly. In that spirit, if a member comes with a private member bill, we don't see that member, we see the spirit that is carrying the sixth legislature. I think that is very important. Honorable Speaker, here is an issue surrounding having the mandate to vote in a council, being a nominated member. Honorable Speaker, the process of nomination is very clear in the Act. Unlike that of the Constitution, there are directives that has to be followed to reach to nomination, subject to the confirmation of the minister before the chairperson or the mayor can do the nomination. The minister has every right to behold to any nomination that he feels is not in the right order. And those interest groups also that are not ably consulted have also the right to take legal action. I think that one is very clear. Of course, as honorable members said, even whereas these rights are there, sometimes you can tend to question. And the challenge is on the citizenry to take our position on those rights. Honorable Speaker, this is about the right to vote. And simply to get that, that's what the amendment is seeking, deleting section 28. There will be no provision to say that a nominated member should not vote. That is what section 28 is saying. If you delete that, a nominated member is not voting. If you leave it there, it should not vote. If you delete, a nominated member should vote. Just like how it is in the Constitution. There is no provision of such in the Constitution. That's why all members have the right to vote. Honorable Speaker, I see this move in trying to synchronize National Assembly with that of the councils. Very clearly, if I may draw your attention to the 5th legislature, Section 91(1)(d) was amended. When a member ceases to be a member of the party, you don't cease to be a member in the National Assembly. It was in this spirit that was extended to the council, Honorable Speaker. Section 19G was amended. For when a councillor ceases to be a member of his party, you don't cease to be a councillor. It was in this spirit. Part of my amendment, the manner in which a term of the National Assembly ends, there is no transition of 3 months up to the time we are elected. The term of the National Assembly should end.
Yeah.
It is in this spirit also, a section of the act was also amended that will be no 3 months.
Yeah, please narrow it down to.
But up to the time, I am just making comparison. Up to the time the council is elected, I can see the trend. Now we have nominated members in the National Assembly having voting right. No additional clause to say that they should not have voting right. That's why this amendment is simply seeking, delete this. All members should have voting right in the council, just like their brothers and sisters in the National Assembly have voting right. As simple as that. Of course, when the president has the right to nominate, we cannot question the democracy in that. It is the constitution that mandates the general populace to elect that president. And it's the constitution that said it is that constitution that should govern that country. If it's not in the constitution, the president will not do the nomination. And if he does the nomination, they are here only to talk for what? And they cannot decide what is the essence of their presence. That is not fair to those who are nominated. If we are saying that it's not fair for our nominated members not to have a voice to take decision, should we say it should not be fair for the members who are in the council not to have the voice? So long as we are yet to regulate what is good for the ganja, to be good for the goose. That is the game. We are the ones who are making laws. Let's make laws that are good for all of us. If a law is good for us as MPs and the law is bad for the councillors, we are not fair to them. Let's have a replica. What is good for us to be good for them. Until such a time, they are at the same level. But as for now, they all have the right. Nominated members have the right here. The Constitution guaranteed that. What the Constitution guaranteed, we want the Act also to guarantee that in the Council. A fair game. Honorable members, on that note, I simply see, if I am the mover or the owner of this bill, I don't need to have this lengthy object and reason. One sentence. One sentence. National Assembly Council. Finish. Only that. All this and this and this. No! Only that. 91(1)(d) is out. 19G is out. How the term of the National Assembly ends is synchronized with how the term of the council ends in the same vein. If independent National Assembly members can vote, and the council also can vote, period.
Thank you very much, Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader. I will ask you a question, Minority Leader, but you don't have to answer today, for another day. I will ask you a question, but you don't have to answer it today, for another day. You know, some members and yourself talked about representation and democracy, and also equal opportunity, National Assembly and Council. National Assembly throughout the country, 5 nominated only. Councillors throughout the country, you're talking about 30 plus.
Honorable Speaker, don't get
No, I am not debating. I'm asking the minority leader a question, and I told him not to answer it today. Yes, another day. I am not debating. I asked him the question and for him not to answer it today, but another day. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, honorable members. I now recognize the member for Janjambure.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I want to join my colleagues to sincerely thank the mover of this bill for bringing us this important document. Before I go far, I just want to say that I'm in support of this particular amendment for the simple reason that I think if we're talking about democracy, one thing that should reflect on our mind is all inclusiveness. So having nominated councillors to be given that voting right, I believe will definitely encourage that inclusiveness among members of our various area councils. However, Honorable Speaker, I had one of the committee members from the Local Government Select Committee saying that the 2002 Local Government Act is under review, and that also raised some doubts around my end. That is to say, having that document being under review and also having this bill before us, I don't know if the mover of the motion can find a possible way to engage the committee and see as to how they can synchronize things and ensure that we have a progressive document before us than just subjecting it to one single issue. Also, looking at the 202 Local Government Act on Section 11 and subsection 2, I think it is very clear. There are clear provisions as to how some of these nominations should undergo. And as such, I would say more especially with the current leadership, they have been respecting as to how these nominations should actually happen. I can be a living witness. In 2018, after the local government elections in Central River region, then I used to be a regional youth chairperson. We noticed that there were nominations ongoing for Kuntauru Area Council and Janjambure Area Council without due consultations. And among one of the councils, then they already nominated a youth rep to represent the young people of the region. But again, we took it upon ourselves as a committee to engage that particular council in order to reverse their decision and allow the regional youth committee through the National Youth Council to do with their nomination and identify who should actually represent the young people. So for me, the provisions of the law are very clear. Might be at some point the way the process is being done might be a bit wrong, but then it is important for one to attest to the fact that in my region, then I used to be a youth chairperson, these processes were indeed very respected, and the councils ensured that the youth reps in the councils were nominated by the young people of the region. And not just by verbal nomination, but then this was accompanied by a written letter to the respective councils to inform them as to what were the wishes of the young people, which was done through a process. Moving forward, I also want to ask the mover of the motion, when he was coming up with this bill, whether he did consult with the various area councils, not just in the Greater Banjul area per se, the municipalities, but whether the regional councils were consulted and what were their feedbacks as to what they think could be done in order to get this bill to be progressive. Also, if you look at the issue of nomination, I think as lawmakers, we should be just fair to ourselves. Within the four corners of our own house, we have nominated members who are given equal right as elected members. For me, which I think is very fair, because we are all here for a purpose. If you are here on the basis of being elected and someone is here on the basis of being nominated, I think we should have equal rights in order to encourage all inclusiveness and also to promote good practices of democracy, but not just to say, okay, if you are elected, you should have more right than the nominated representatives. So on that note, I beg to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, member for Janjambure. I now give the floor to the member for Sami constituency.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank the Honorable Member for Latrakunda for coming up this progressive bill. Honorable Speaker, what I want to start with is the most important document is the Constitution. And if you look at all what we are talking here, it was in the draft Constitution. And it is this very house that thrown that. And since it was thrown, the government is always telling us that we will bring it, we will bring it. And now we don't see it. We don't see it. So, Honorable Speaker, as other speakers have mentioned, this is not a bad law. It's a very good law. When we look at among ourselves, as others said, we have nominated members. And they are given equal right as elected members. So when we give the same thing to the councillors, nominated members, it's not something bad. Because they are also there to represent certain groups. For their voice to be heard, they should have right in that voting. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the Local Government Act 2002, there are so many issues there, Honorable Speaker. I think the Committee on Local Government should start engaging the line ministries, the line ministry. Look at our case as a National Assembly member. When you spend 2 terms, you have your gratuity. And councillors, they don't have salary, they don't have gratuity. Despite that, you spend 3 terms, pensions, you don't have pensions. Even you spend 3 terms as a councillor, you don't have pension.
Honorable, come back to...
Shouldn't we look at that?
Come back to the bill.
I'm coming. I'm just trying to compare. I'm coming. Just don't distract me. I'm coming. I'm just trying to, compare. Okay. So now, when we look at that.
Honorable member. Honorable. Please, Honorable, come down.
I'm just trying to synchronize what is happening here.
Okay, I'm just trying to say that what is applicable in the National Assembly should also be applicable in the councils. Like this voting rights and other issues. That's why I said the Local Government Act 2002, the local government committee should at least try to look